Travellers from here trying to get home.
If you've just walked in and have the energy to tell us about your nightmare journey, get in touch. We'd like to hear your story.
We would indeed.
Now, the number of people who are unemployed in our region increased by 11,000 in the 3 months to February. Figures from the Office for National Statistics show that 198,000 people are unemployed in East Anglia. The rise was the second biggest in the country, behind the East Midlands. Across the country, unemployment rose to a 16-year high of 2.5 million.
Now, a record number of people are after your vote when polling stations open in a fortnight tomorrow.
Election 2010 has attracted over 100 more candidates in the Anglia region than stood 5 years ago. And there was a last-minute rush to register to vote.
Our political correspondent, Matthew Hudson, joins us now from Luton South. Well, Matt, as you said last night, you're in the seat with the most candidates this evening.
That's right, Jonathan. 12 candidates, a good half dozen of them independent. So if you live in Luton South, you can probably look forward to having your evenings disrupted for the next couple of weeks or so. This is a seat, of course, that Labour's very keen to hang on to. They've sent a lot of their big guns here. And in fact, we're waiting for the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Alistair Darling, to arrive at any time.
So why so many candidates?
Becky, I think it's probably a mixture of the expenses scandal and, society's increasing desire for us all to have our 15 minutes of fame. In 2005, there were 337 candidates in our region. This time out, it's 463. There are 69 constituencies in the Anglia region. And as you'd expect, the main parties are standing in all of them, except in Buckingham, where the Speaker of the House, John Bercow, is seeking re-election. He is being opposed by UKIP, UKIP fielding another 64 candidates across our region. The Green Party is putting up a record for itself here with 47 candidates. And talking of 47, the number of independent candidates has more than doubled from last time to, you've guessed it, 47. The British National Party has 45. That's more than it's ever had before here. There'll be 16 candidates from the English Democrats and 10 candidates from religious Christian groups.
Well, eyes down, those are the big numbers, Matt. Another one is 14 days to the election, of course, and there's been a bit of a rush on, hasn't there, to make sure that people have been registered?
Absolutely, Jonathan, and hopefully that'll give the lie to this idea that there was going to be a very low turnout at this general election. Hopefully people who've registered will now use their votes. Of course, it wouldn't be a general election without the official monster-raving Looney Party. They have 3 candidates standing, including Lord Toby Jugg in Huntingdon, my constituency. But perhaps my own personal favourite is in Kettering, where you have the chance to vote for the Bus Pass Elvis candidates. Changed my perception of Kettering entirely.
Thank you, Matt. Well, do stay with us this Wednesday evening. There's more news, sport and weather still to come.
The flags are out for the World Cup countdown. 50 days to go, and a South African star gets...
More news now from your part of the region. A mother accused of stealing compensation money from her son who lost a leg in Afghanistan has been banned from contacting him. Angela Woolard from Southend in Essex is accused of stealing £11,000 from Private Matt Woolard of the Royal Anglian Regiment. He received around £200,000 after stepping on a landmine in 2007. Today at Southend Magistrates Court, she was granted bail pending a later hearing on condition she doesn't contact him.
Meanwhile, a Norwich-born soldier who was jailed for going absent without leave has lost an appeal against his 9-month prison sentence. Lance Corporal Joe Glenton is in military prison in Colchester after refusing to serve a second tour of Afghanistan. The High Court in London today ruled that the original sentence handed down by a court-martial was neither excessive nor wrong in principle.
Industrial action by Essex firefighters appears to have moved a step closer after the latest round of talks between unions and management broke down.
Yes, the dispute centres on 49 proposed job cuts as well as changes in working practices. Laura Burns has been finding out more.
For more than 7 months, fire chiefs here have been locked in a bitter dispute with the brigade's union. Now, recently a settlement seemed so close, but now it looks like they might be back to square one. Union members say they're left amazed and disappointed that a key document has been withdrawn, whereas management are blaming the union's attitude, which they say is provoking setback after setback.
Protests over key issues such as job cuts, shift systems and fire cover have been going on since the summer, but so far the union has stopped short of taking strike action. In the last few weeks, negotiations between the two sides have been going extremely well, leading to a draft settlement, which included guarantees of no compulsory redundancies. Today, the Deputy Chief Fire Officer told me he couldn't understand why the union had not accepted it.
The offer that we've put on the table puts our firefighters and officers on the best conditions in the country. See reality, look at the offer that's on the table, compare it with other fire and rescue services, come and talk to us, but stop your action.
But the union tells a different story and says they haven't rejected anything. They merely wanted clarification.
We haven't rejected this document at all. We were merely seeking clarification on a few of the small key areas within the document, and we would certainly urge the service to actually get back around the negotiating table with us, because we feel we are very close to a settlement here.
Both management and the union say they're keen to get back to negotiations and finally bring the dispute to a close. But with both sides adamant it's the other being stubborn, it looks like the stalemate could drag on. Laura Burns, Anglia News.
Football and a winding-up order against Southend United has been formally discharged after the club settled an unpaid tax bill. The Shrimpers had faced the prospect of going out of business, but Chairman Ron Martin confirmed yesterday that they've now paid almost £400,000. That's on top of the £2.1 million they paid in November. The club now have 3 games in which to drag themselves out of the League One relegation zone. Next tonight, the horrific crash that's left one of our biggest Speedway stars out of action going into the new league season.
King Lyn's Tomas Topinka is recovering at home after one of the worst accidents of his career left him with a broken leg. It happened when he was racing at Rye House near Hoddesdon at the weekend. Here's David Golly.
They make them tough, these Speedway riders. King's Lynn captain Tomas Topinka is proof of that. Now at home with his leg in a surgical boot, last season he was leading the King's Lynn Stars to the Grand Slam as the team swept the board, winning every trophy on offer. This year, an horrific crash with home rider Luke Bowen at Rye House at the weekend has left him with a broken leg. Many feared it was going to be far worse.
I was like, people was everywhere, and bits of fence was lying everywhere. And medics was obviously come to see us and ask the questions to make sure that we are like conscious and that. And all I can remember is was pain in my legs, but you know, apart from that, I was all right. Like.
Topinka was treated on the track for half an hour by paramedics, yet remarkably he still managed to get up and hobble back to the pits. X-rays then revealed the damage. But no fear of him missing the whole season. He reckons he'll be back leading his beloved Stars in 6 weeks, or even less.
Because it's a clear break, should be 4 to 6 weeks. But I'm going to see bone specialist at Ipswich, Brian Simpson, and he is known for helping a lot of sportsmen, a lot of Speedway riders to try to get the recovery quicker.
As Kings Lynn open their league campaign at home to Sheffield tonight without their inspirational skipper, and now British under-21 champion Joe Haynes, who's out with a broken shoulder, they know hanging on to any of their trophies has suddenly got a whole lot harder. They're grateful, though, that despite this crash, Tomas Topinka will still be back in action sooner than anyone could have dared hope. David Golly, Anglia News.
Oh, that really is tough, isn't it?
Those pictures, gosh.
My goodness me, whenever I complain about a slight cricket injury...